hard working, bag having dude. He is really doing his best to make sure that everybody in Akana has the right direction and a great mindset to lead themselves and this company forward. Without any further ado, Minister Willie Mooney. Willie?
Great morning, Kathy. Great morning, great morning, great morning. How are you this morning?
I'm awesome. How about yourself?
Feeling amazing. I'm looking at the sun shining right in my face, and oh my God, it looks
I love it.
beautiful. Yes, it is amazing. Here in Chicago, we got a chance, I think, to experience about 61 degrees yesterday. Probably a little more,
Ooh, that sounds like
definitely
a
less.
heat wave for y'all.
Yes, yes. So I'm looking forward to see what today brings. And I'm just super excited about it. Um, I started off yesterday. Again, sun shining in my face when I woke up yesterday morning, and I started out yesterday by saying that I love, love, love everyone. I love people. You know, I love what the people who I've been able to interact with, and even some of the voices that I hear. I hear a lot of the different testimonies, a lot of the different encouragements coming through our kind of lines every morning. And then just I'm nosy, right? I think everybody got a little nosy in them. So I'm on social media, and with everything in the world that's going on, with everything that's happening, I'm enlightened and encouraged by what I see from the kind of lifestyle group when people are posting. I dip in and look at people who I know that are kind of partners, my team, and everybody out there in the kind of land. And it just really encourages me. And I want you all to stay encouraged. So I love you. I want you to stay encouraged, which is why yesterday I shared from a perspective of turbulence and resistance, and how to lead or how to move forward with doing so. So I think that's very important because with all that good that I'm seeing, there's always opposite, right? It's just that the way that the world had, let's say, shifted, right? We know everything was good, but something happened where um, what what there's polar opposites. So there's a yin and there's a yang, there's a good, there's a evil. So in everything that we do, what goes up must come down. So we kind of have to sometimes expect resistance, when things are going good. And that might not be the easiest thing to adapt to or to accept. But I tell you, and I shared yesterday that this has been a season of resistance. I mean, we started in January with some serious resistance. And I'm gonna say this. I don't think resistance ever goes away or turbulence ever goes away, but our perspective can change about resistance and turbulence. So I prayed it yesterday. I gave you all 3 points that I choose to apply myself, and especially, um, I don't call myself a leader. I always kind of look from the avenue and the range of who do they say you are, right? So I know that people are watching me, and I don't do that. I do what I do because one, I do know people are watching me. I know God is watching me too. So I gave three. So this is what drives me, and I hope it's been a blessing to you. So I want to repeat 3 points that I shared yesterday about leading through resistance. One point I gave was vision over circumstances. Another point that I gave was growth happens in the stretch, right? Stretching ourselves, pressing towards the mark, right? That's when growth happens. And then the third point that I gave was control what you can. Control what you can. So now I want to break those down, and I'm going to try to do my best to actually give in each point some action steps, right? So I'm going to try my best to do so. So I hope you have pen and paper. I'm going to take the next 10 minutes to do that. So envision over circumstances. How do we get better in that? Right. So ideally, I said we need to get reconnected to our why, and then focus forward. Right. That's the when you have vision, circumstances shouldn't impact necessarily. Well, let's say negative circumstances. Let me say that. The vision trumps the circumstance. So some things that I do, and let me share this one. This is so powerful, you all. When I first met my wife, one of our first dates was to go to a vision board ceremony. It was like a vision board class, and I had first met her, right? It was probably like the third date. I remember exactly the environment that it happened in, and we created a vision board. She created hers, I created mine. And when I look at that vision board today, everything that I saw has came to pass. I might, you know what, as an activity today, I'm going to post my vision board under the kind of lifestyle page. You guys are gonna really trip. I look at it and I'm like, wow, I saw this. It even included Wakanda, right? And all of that has came to pass. And this is before this was in our first couple days. So I'm going to do that. So a vision board, revisit or create a vision board, you all. I think that's a good step to keep your vision in front of you versus circumstances. I think writing down our why, right? This sounds like Sales Academy training, right? But writing, another point that we can do is write down our why, right? Why did I get started? I remind myself of the purpose and passion behind my journey, right? I share it with my team, and my why has evolved, a lot, previous to when I first started versus now. And that's a good thing, right? But the vision is still in the area. It's still the same. It's actually bigger because I've been able to see more and experience more. So our why, right? Now, putting a lot, how do I say, establishing that level of accountability is when I open my mouth, right? My team gets to hear it. My wife gets to hear it. My family gets to hear it. And then I'm under pressure, which is good, right? So I do have weekly meetings with my team to focus on the big picture, right? Cast the vision. I always speak belief, right? That's number 3 is maybe you want to host a vision call. Maybe you want to host a huddle with your team, right? So that's something, and then I paint the picture of what it'll look like moving forward. And then, of course, under this category of vision over circumstances, number 4 would be you always hear us talking about a 90-day goal, setting goals and putting a time frame with it, measurable, inspiring, team-connected goal. And I rally the leaders around me. A lot of time I'll gather. I remember earlier in the year, I called a meeting with my team, the top leaders, and everybody could be involved, but anybody who wanted to put skin in the game. And we developed a protocol that says, you know what? We're actually going to create a business within the business named Team Contagious. Team Contagious is a business within a business named Akana and Wakana, right? So we rallied all the leaders together, motivated and inspiring, take advantage of everybody's, everybody got a chance to weigh in with their gifts. And it casted out a vision. And, I just pray, I always pray so that maybe, people in Akana or members in my team will see the vision, especially the new people, right? So the second point that I covered was growth happens in stretching, right? So leaning into the pressure is the path to leadership. Leaders find themselves under a lot of pressure. Let me give it up, because when I think about pressure, I think about our CEO, who, oh my God, OMG, who's constantly under pressure, and she leans right in it. Is nothing stops Melissa Boston. And people used to tell me about Melissa Boston. And I was like, who is a Melissa Boston? What, you know, because people were speaking very highly of her before I even started in the company just being introduced. And I see why. And woman doesn't stop. So she leans into pressure, right? And one of the action steps I would say, um, start writing down the wins that you see yourself happening, right? And then logging down the wins that are actually happening. So wins are you learning through challenges when you have those wins. I don't care if they're big or small, right? Share with accountability partners and your teams the wins that you're having. It feels really good, especially during the season of turbulence, right? Self-development, right? Develop a culture where personal growth is happening and with the people that you're in with, right? So sometimes that may look like maybe you and your team, or maybe you and your wife or your spouse, or maybe you and your boys will get together and just do debriefings. You know, what's happening and what's the biggest takeaways of what somebody may have shared that you pick up for yourself, right? We do that as a team. You know, every Monday we meet every single Monday to go through a debriefing. The leaders, we do it every Friday, the rubies and above. You know, that's what it's for. You know, because growth happens when you're stretching and you're hearing about somebody else's success, which fuels yours. So stay plugged in, right? This is a good one. What challenging ourselves is to stretch is taking one brave action at a time. Maybe, right? Maybe it's something that maybe you're scared to get on Facebook. Maybe you're scared to tap into new spaces or get into new places or in front of the people. Take one step at a time. Whether it's, maybe you want to host a live Zoom call. Maybe you want, to reach out to somebody who's on your chicken list. I'm going back to the basics, right? Maybe you want to speak up on a call, right? Stretching yourself is aligned with purpose, you all. You could do all those things, keeping your goal in mind and your vision in mind, and just stretch. And then celebrate progress, not just results. Publicly recognizing, I love that those are some who stretched last month, crossed over 500, 1,000. They're going to get double in CV, right? And they're going to be celebrated. They stretched, pushed, right? Now, I'm looking forward to seeing that list because they're going to be publicly celebrated. And then there's a mindset shift, right? Showing up, especially in hard seasons. So celebration is like, and celebrating somebody else, you all, not just the results, but actually the progress should be celebrated. And last but not least, I want to dive right into point number 3 and get some action steps towards that. Controlling what you can, right? Taking ownership of our energy and actions and leadership is a great example. Taking control of what we say is a great example, right? So our energy is important. Our actions are important. Those are some of the things that we have control of. And it serves as a great example. So that may control of what you can. We can control, let me give an action step. We can control what we do in a day, right? So what are the things that we must do versus the things that we just don't have to do? Scheduling ourselves properly, right? Center our mindset on our business or personal development or connections, follow-ups. These are action-oriented things that we can do, right? So we create a daily routine, right? That is taking control of what we can. We may another action step is controlling our inputs. Who's talking to you? What music are you listening to? What are you hearing? Who's in your environment? Now, let me tell you, I personally try my best without showing any expressions, and it's hard, of controlling my inputs. I don't like negativity around me. Can't stand it, right? I have enmity with it, right? I just can't stand it. So, and now I just have to dissect what's negative and what's not, because everything isn't negative, but I do control my inputs. I try to keep myself surrounded by great music that inspires me, motivates me, If it's a Debbie Downer or a can't do Doug Downer or whatever you want to call them, I can't hear it. I have to mute the chat on social media, mute the noise, mute the gossip, mute the fear, mute the negativity. I put it on mute, right? Because I have to protect my mind and protect my focus and protect my vision. So I limit my exposure to all. I don't listen to noise that drains me, right? And I try my best to do that. And I try to encourage others to do that. Like, get away from that negativity. It will drain you by the end of the day. Then there's if you're a counselor, I pray for you, right? Or even if you're a leader, hearing somebody else's voice when they're going through, let me put it like this. If you are in any of those positions, right, there is some times where you would be approached with somebody going through, and having empathy and having different things, you do have to sometimes submit yourselves to hearing what they have to say. But then right after, there's a place that you should go to debrief, to bring your mind back, to get a rebalance. What I call it, I need to recalibrate. So I take my time. I praise God that my wife and my home allows me to do that. She allows me to debrief. Last two action steps in the area of control what you can. Show your team what you're doing, right? How can I say this? Most of us are from the show me state, right? So a good way to control what you can and control the narrative is not just saying something to your team or saying something. The voice is powerful. We speak things into existence. However, action inspires duplication, right? That's something we can control. We can control our action. And if we decide to be transparent and vulnerable and show it, good times, hard times, whatever, man, that speaks volume when it comes to leading, right, with the vision, right? And you do have control over what you show, right? Last but not least, leading through the storm is something that we have control over. Yes, there's a storm, but the most powerful thing that we can do is have our power hours, leading through the storm. And that may be hosting a call or showing up. I don't like to always say I. I see my team pressing towards the mark, showing up sometimes when they don't. What pops in my head, a Minister Ernestine and a Yakima Palmer, and even a Jared West. Man, there's so many things that they're asked to do, and they press and they show up through the storm. I know it. They don't even have to say it, and they don't show it, right? The disposition that I see coming from these individuals. And let me even say, who Cherie Eppinger, right? She's someone that sticks out because I always see her showing up, right? She leads through the storm. Iola Common, and they may never know how I made thinking, but I see them pressing and showing up through the storm. Now, I'm challenging all of the names that I said to sometimes host your own weekly call, right? Host your own power hour with some of the people that are around you. Like, be that you have control of that, right? And invite leaders to work side by side with you. We have control of that. Share different mindset tips, right? Taking action together. See, some people will say, well, I don't have a team, Minister Mooney. Well, who do you know that you can partner with and just get the moving? I was once there, right? Most of us have been in that space, right? And create a calm leadership model, right? Let me say that one more time. This is what we have control over. Create a calm leadership model while under pressure. So those are my tips for today and my action steps. Once again, I love you all. I went a little bit over, right? I pray that you all was able to receive what I just shared. Remember what I say, right? Message always starts with the letters M-E. Message starts with me. So everything that I'm sharing with you is something that God shared with me. and I love self development. So, with that being said, back to you, Kat, to close us out. Love you all.
I believe that you had a mic drop moment, sir. There's nothing else that I have to add to that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was awesome. I definitely, you gave us some things that we can visualize. And absolutely, I love the idea of partnering with somebody else to just do something. I love it. You do have the power to move us. Really appreciate you, Willie. And guys, remember that we are still having an issue with our merchant processing credit cards. Unless you are doing only e-wallet, you need to call in the customer service so that I can assist you with your orders, whether it be your customer or your own personal orders. Again, unless you're using only e-wallet, you do need to call in. So, or if you just have questions, okay, guys? No question's a bad question. We got you. All right.
Hey,
So
Kathy,
listen,
can I chime
y'all.
in on that?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay, so that's an excellent example of resistance. So let me share another. I love that now. I love that Kathy in corporate has made it where we can call in and get our orders put in. But let me add an additional step of what I thought that would also help. What I started doing with my customers, and it works, is I calculate normally what it would cost for those items, right? With taxes and everything else. It's just taking an additional step, or I may, right? So taking an additional step. Let me keep it simple. And then I'll tell the customer, not negative or anything like that, like, hey, I'm having a problem with my merchant right now. Would you mind Zelling me? And I'll make sure that the order goes through. Now, I already created the account for the customer. So now all I have to do, they Zelle me, and then this is a season right now where I'm just using my credit card, and then I'm calling in orders to Kathy, so I don't have to really have the customer waiting or anything like that. Like the order is secure. I know I have the order. Now I'm gonna call in a group of orders to Kathy, right?
Boy, I
So that's
tell you, yeah, that's a diamond move right there.
I'm not leaving any money on the table, and I want my customers to get their product. And I want you right. So I don't, you all. Tomorrow's not promised, but we have today, and so we're taking some things back to the basics. And I love that. I love turbulence that's happening right now. Remember, I said leaders come up with solutions, and it's a way to press towards the mark because I still have the vision in mind. So hey, let them veil you, give you whatever. Take the order, write down what they want, make adjustments, and get it in their system. Back to you, Kathy. Thank you so much for allowing me to share.
I appreciate you for interjecting that. And you made a very, very important, but yet simple, back to basics point. Guys, if you just set up the customer account, you don't even have to do all of what Willie mentioned that he does. I just need you to set up the customer account, and you can just give the customer the phone number, and I got you. If you do that one simple thing, that's going to help you out the most, but it really will give me a lot of help in helping you and your customer win. Okay. So thank you for all of your time and attention. Thank you guys for everything that you're doing. The momentum in Akana is real and it's growing. So if you feel a little something, that's just a little of the big something that's happening. Okay. So, guys, continue to go out today, spread the message, continue to grow and push and change yourself and enhance yourself in your community. Enjoy the weekend, but be vigilant in your message. Okay. You guys have a great rest of the day.